What is going on, my friends? Rogelio Diaz here, and today I wanted to talk about my spiritual awakening journey from start to finish. Why? Because I firmly believe watching other people go through their awakening and coming out of it and still going is so motivational. It's so inspirational. It gives you so many downloads from just learning from other people's experiences, right? So every now and then I like to create this video for you just to remind you to keep going, that nothing is wrong, and you are always walking your divine path. So without further ado, let's begin, my friends. At the age of 22, I found myself broke, an alcoholic, living with my parents. I had an injury in my back. I ended up finding out I had 2 slipped discs, and that's why I was broke. I literally couldn't work. And while that whole phase was happening, I found out my girlfriend at the time was cheating on me, which left me even more broken, even more devastated, just destroyed. And I remember so vividly that year, right? 'Cause I was 22 and I was living like this for a year, just drinking every other day, playing Xbox. I got a DUI. I had to get a breathalyzer installed in my car. I'll never forget. I'll share this with you really quick. I was at a Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru, and every couple minutes you have to blow it into this breathalyzer, right? So it was literally attached to my car, and it took a picture every time I turned it on, and I had to blow in it. So as I'm pulling up through the drive-thru, the worker there is giving me my food, right? And the alarm goes off. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I'm like, hold on, give me a second. I grabbed the breathalyzer, I blew in it. I told that lady, this is why you don't drink and drive. And I made it into a comedy, right? I laughed at it. It was so embarrassing to have to experience that. I felt like my dignity was just stripped because every time I had to do that for 3 months. I had that breathalyzer installed, and it was part of the plea. It was part of what I agreed to when I went to court. Which, by the way, the DUI cost me $10,000, money that I didn't have. My parents had to bail me out. And it's just like, life just punched me in the mouth. Everything just came, everything. Talk about dark night of the soul, my friend. And while all this was happening within that year, I also lost all my friends. Everybody left. All friends that I'd known since high school, gone, dropped me. And I've never felt so alone. I was never even by myself for that much time. I'm a very social person, right? So that year, I literally confronted every single aspect of who I was. And what changed everything, guys, was my parents. They were on me. They knew that I had an issue, but I would never admit it. I mean, what son wants to tell their mom or their dad that they're an alcoholic, right? That they have no control. Something has control over them, and they have no control about drinking every other night. So I remember going to sleep one night, and I'm like, is this gonna be the rest of my life? Is this really what I'm here to do? Just drink my life away, just drift through life and do nothing? Right there and then, while I was drunk, while I was intoxicated, I said, no, this will not be it for me. The next day, I made a conscious decision that from here on out, I was gonna learn just one thing every day to better myself, to progress in my life. And it was a non-negotiable for me. I was so fed up with the way my life was going. I was playing the victim. Like, why is this happening to me? Of course this would happen to me. But when I got fed up, when I said no more, when I said I'm fucking done, this is when my reality changed. This is when my paradigm shifted. Because I no longer accepted the reality I was living. soon after that, about 2 weeks later, I came across this video called Why I Have No Friends, right? And it was a personal development video that I didn't even know I was watching at the time, but I really resonated with it. As you can see, I lost all my close friends, right? And the only thing that really kept me going, by the way, guys, at that time was working out, bodybuilding. I love to work out. It's where I took my stress, my anger, my pain, and I left it all in the gym. It would always recenter me, always. Until this day, it still does. But I remember watching that video, and I fell in love with personal development, and that skyrocketed me into my spiritual awakening. For 2 years, I did nothing but learn. I'm talking about hours and hours and hours of learning, audiobooks, buying courses, buying books, watching YouTube videos. I was so determined to change my life. I was so determined to make my life mean something, right? Something. Until this day, my message is still, I want to show the world that you can take your life from meaning nothing and still make it meaningful. Still make it meaningful, no matter what you've been through, my friend. So after those 2 years of continuously, repetitively learning, working on myself, healing trauma, I got to this point where I finally had enough confidence to start posting on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I was ready to share my knowledge. And even like when the irony of this, because even after like it was in the second year, I fell back into drinking. But now I had knowledge. So I was a bodybuilder. I went back to being an alcoholic. But now I had knowledge, I had new wisdom. And even with the knowledge that I knew, with information, it still wasn't enough. The addiction was that strong, my friends. So I was drinking approximately every other day. And I was making posts. I was still recording videos, just so silly. But I remember one night I posted an IG story and I asked, guys, if I started making like real deep content about personal development, would you be interested in watching? Would you listen? And I did a little poll, and that poll blew up. Everybody was saying yeah. They wanted more YouTube videos. They wanted more IG stories. They wanted to learn more about my path, more about what I knew. So that's when I really went hard. But that led me to the next year, right? I was 23 at that time now, and I went to become a personal trainer, right? I got a diploma. I found out that was really my passion. I was gonna use personal training as a vehicle to be an entrepreneur as a coach, right? To make it as a coach. And I went through this phase of being a personal trainer / owner of a studio, and I met a business partner, and we teamed up. We made it happen. I manifested my dream. Literally, that was my dream at that time, to manifest a studio. I did that. I had a dream to make $5,000 a month. I did that. I bought my dream car, my Camaro, right? At the time, I wanted that for so long, and I did it. But I worked my ass off to get there. I'm talking about 12, 13-hour days, weekly. And I didn't care if I was tired. I'm like, this is my dream. I'll sacrifice my health. I'll sacrifice everything for it. And I did. I definitely paid the price with the stress. But long story short, I learned a lot about myself while I was there. I learned a lot about business. My mentor / business partner was 60 years old, and he taught me everything. He taught me everything there was to know about business. And I realized, even with all those manifestations, I was still doubting. I still didn't have the confidence that I thought I should have had, right? But throughout that time, the downloads that came through, the lessons were priceless, really priceless. And what ended up happening was me and my business partner started getting into arguments. He started being passive aggressive, and it got so bad. It's like the universe always ejects you right on time. And I didn't want to leave. I'm like, this is my dream. Like, I don't care. I'll put up with it. I'll do whatever it takes, right? To make sure. I wanted to own several studios at the time. But I woke up one morning, my friends. I was so stressed. I was getting sick. And my body was just shaking. Literally shaking. I was hot. I was anxious. And I knew I couldn't do this anymore. The same day, after hours of contemplating, I talked to my partner. I told him, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. We got to go our separate ways. So that was the end of that chapter. For about 2 weeks, I was, again, back to, felt like I was 22 again. Broken, no sense of direction, just drifting through life. I was crying almost every other day. I really thought that was my purpose. I'm like, what am I going to do now? You know, I kind of put, because I was so into being an owner, being a trainer, I kind of put personal development, I kind of put the coaching to the side, and that's all I was focused on, right? So after 2 weeks of just sitting around, eating Netflix, doing nothing, I woke up again one day and I was fed up. I was fed up again. I'm like, this will not be the end of me. It just won't. And I've always, something I noticed, my friends, I've always had that fire in me. My spirit just would not allow me to give up. I wanted to give up. My spirit just no. I don't know why, but I was born with that. I really do. Like I can't stop for what I love. I really can't. And after that, it was a Sunday. I made that decision that the next day I was gonna go right back on, hop back on YouTube, hop back on IG, and go at it again. Another try. And starting from scratch, right? Because I wasn't posting a lot. And it was really starting from day one again. And that was also hurtful. That was also devastating because I put in all this work before, and I almost felt like it was for nothing, right? And I felt like I lost my whole foundation of when I was at the studio. Like I worked so hard to build that, to create that, and then bam, one day it's gone. And you can imagine how that can mess you up mentally, right? When you're going through it. And I didn't know what I knew now as well. But point is, on Monday, I started making videos again. I started recording again, going back onto my grind, right? And I came across Victor Odo, as many of you know, and I was watching his energy updates. And then shortly after that, I joined FTPA, his full-time purpose accelerator program, which even at the moment, I had $5,000 left to my name, guys. That's it. I was living with my parents, thank goodness, but I had $5K, and I either had to get a job or had to invest that. And I chose to invest that in myself. I chose to bet on myself. So I invested into FTPA, and I did nothing for 3 months. I bought this program and I did nothing for 3 months. And I'm like, Roy, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Are you really gonna let this go to waste? You have the material. You have the roadmap. And you're doing nothing with it. So I put myself in check. I reminded myself why I was doing this, which honestly, guys, was I never wanted anybody else to feel the pain that I felt during those dark times. I never ever wanted anybody else to feel so alone, to feel like they had nothing or no one, right? So that was my why, that was my motivation, and it drove me. It really drove me. So I got back on. I started really taking the course serious, and I started connecting with the people in the private community, and I just took off. I started doing workshops. I started doing group coaching. I I did everything I thought I never could, honestly. And I learned the skills, the techniques, the methodologies that it came to being, that were necessary to being an entrepreneur in the spiritual community. So that again, another huge phase of expansion, another spiritual awakening phase that was necessary. And I'm saying all that to get to now. 8 months ago, I drove from Chicago, Illinois, to a spiritual retreat by Victor Odo, and I just knew I had to go. I knew I had to go. There was something higher calling me there in Sedona, Arizona. So I drove there with a 24-hour drive. I drove 20 hours straight, and it was, the reason behind it, I'm not too proud. It was more because I needed to prove to myself that I was worthy to arrive. And there were so many people doubting me still, my own family, my own friends, mentors at the time doubted me, talking shit. And I felt like I had to prove to myself and to them, which is really just myself, that I was worthy, that I can do this. You don't believe I can do this? Watch me, right? And that was another strong motivator for some time. But it came from hatred, it came from anger, and it wasn't a good source of energy. So I was trying to prove to myself within this 20-hour drive, which I took 1,500 milligrams of caffeine to arrive there in the first place, and a lot of supplements. Not the best, but it was still amazing to go through that road trip, right? To experience. I've never gone on a road trip. That was the first time, and experience nature, experience new cities, right? All the forests, the preservations. It was beautiful. Experience I'll never forget. The point is, I went through Victor's retreat, right? And 2 days prior, I ended up breaking off a 5-year relationship, which was weighing me down for quite some time. Like it literally felt like I was carrying a 100-pound vest, and I knew I had to take off this vest. I knew I had to end it, but it's all I knew, right? You get so comfortable, you feel like you're almost entrapped, like you put so much time and energy into something, you almost feel like it has to stay, but it doesn't. It's just a mental trap. So I ended this relationship. I went through the retreat, and it was literally life-changing, so transformational. I was never the same. And I decided after the retreat, after a talk with a friend, that I'm never going back to Chicago. I felt so alive. I felt so driven. I've never felt anything like that. Like nothing like being in Sedona. And I met a new tribe. I met my soulmate there, the love of my life. And it was magical. Really, like some shit you see in a movie. And I decided, I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I was gonna live here. And I made it up day by day, month by month. I had two coaching clients at the time. They couldn't afford to pay, they left, back down to square one. Literally, back down again, day one. And on the surface, it seemed like everything was crumbling, everything was falling apart. But at that point, I trusted so much. Trusted so much in myself, from just looking back on all my accomplishments, everything I've overcame, everything I've done. And I knew this was the right move, even if on the surface it didn't seem like it. And I remember I made a vlog at one point because I was so afraid. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was staying at a hotel, literally making it up. I had 3 days there, 3 days to find a place so I can stay there monthly. I can stay at that new place monthly. And I broke down in the vlog. Broke down because I had no idea what I was gonna do. Honestly, I was gonna live. All I had was my car and a dream. That's it. Caught in a dream. I didn't have the 5K I had a couple months back. And I said, if I have to fast for a couple days, if I have to stay in my car, sleep in my car, then so be it. That's what I'm gonna do. I was so determined to live there, to stay there, that I was willing to do anything. Give up anything, sacrifice anything to make it happen. And what ended up happening, my friends, is my parents, they came through. They really supported me. And you see why I get emotional? Because my mom, she's the fucking MVP. My parents, my dad, they said, you know what, Roy? We're gonna be here for you. We're gonna support you. And they supported me financially. And that's what family is, guys. That's what family is. I just needed time. Just like Spirit, I said, Spirit, please just give me some time to get my coaching, to get my business up and running. And here we are now, my friends. 8 months later, here we are. I did it. I did it. Through the trauma, through the pain, through the doubt, the fear. I'm living my dream. And you can too. You can too, my friend. No obstacle, no amount of walls, nothing. Don't ever let it let you give up. Believe anything is possible, because it is. You will not be denied your dream. You will not be denied what you want, what you desire in this life, if you keep freaking going. If you're relentless. If you believe in yourself, even in your darkest moments. I've broken down so many times, guys, behind the scenes. It took millions of tears to find my purpose. But I still go. Why? For my parents, for you. Because I know what I deserve in this life. And I will not settle. I just won't settle for a mediocre life. And if you're watching this, I have a feeling you don't want to do that either. So I hope this inspires you. I hope this, if you feel down, if you feel knocked out, look, man, life hurts. The shit that comes at us that we don't even see coming. But if you keep going, you're gonna arrive to the destination. You will. And Spirit and the universe will provide for you. You'll always get what you need. You'll always know what you need to know. But don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Let this video bring that fire, bring that warrior back from you, from your being. Because you all have it in you. You all can do anything, my friends. All right? I hope this helps you. I hope this reminds you who the hell you are, everything you overcame, and go out there, show the world who you are. Live your dream. Take care of those around you, my friend. Never forget why you're doing it, who you're doing it for. Make your dreams a reality.